Thank you for listening to today's episode. Before we jump in, I wanted to tell you about a new exciting program POC is launching for you. Between now and the end of 2022, this program is free because we want to beta test it. This program is going to be a bi-weekly meeting for 1 hour each time that we get together with a small group of other professional organizers so we can learn how to support one another and to help one another with ideas, all of the things that you need when you are an entrepreneur. So this is going to be a program with other women and other professional organizers that can come alongside of you, link arms with you, and get you to where you want to be in your business. So for those of you already listening to the podcast, you get to enjoy it for free at first and help build this program into what you need. So here's how it will work. We will have 3 tiers based on where you are on your entrepreneurial journey because we want to help surround you with other women that are in the same part of the journey you are. You will get accountability, ideas, and a designated time to work on your business bi-weekly. So the 3 tiers are getting started. This is for you if you are still in the idea phase of your business up to the launching of your business. Then the second tier is growth. This is for you if you are in the first year or 2 of your business and are still growing it. Then tier 3 is seasoned, which is for you if you have at least a year or more as a professional organizer and are maybe looking for ways to keep going, but you've been doing this for a while. So if you are interested and you believe that support equals success, then click the link in the show notes or go to proorganizerscoach.com and click the Support Equals Success tab to sign up. We are going to keep these groups small so you can really get the help on your business that you need. So go now and sign up so you don't miss out on what is going to be an amazing program and what I wish I would have had when I was getting started. So now let's get on with today's show. You are listening to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. I'm Samantha Brown, a professional organizer and business coach. In this podcast, you will learn how to start and scale the organizing business of your dreams. So let's jump in. All right, so welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. On today's episode, I have Sheba Dougherty of Shore Simplicity, and Sheba has been an organizer for 3 years, but she is already running a team of 7. So I thought that this would be an amazing conversation to have. I'm going to ask her all of the questions that I'm sure you're going to want to know.
Hi, Samantha. Thanks for having me on today.
You're welcome.
I live in central New Jersey, which is quite a densely populated area. I got into organizing, I guess you can say I was kind of born with it. It was just something that I always did. I was a little kid, I was organizing. I was cleaning my friends' playrooms. I just was born like this. I was a home care physical therapist for 23 years. And healthcare, honestly, was starting to burn me out. I always worked 3 12-hour days. And when my youngest was starting kindergarten, I thought, oh, I can't do this for 5 days. So I had this very lifelong, it was about, I'd say, a 10-year dream of being a professional organizer. And I thought, well, this is a pretty good time. My youngest is now going to be going to school 5 days a week. I will have those 2 extra days. Let me put this out there. So I put an ad on my local mom's Facebook group, and I'm going to be honest, I felt like a complete fool. What am I doing? I really thought it was just going to be grocery money on the side and keep me from burning out with healthcare. That was in September of 2019. So just about 6 months prior to the world shutting down. Initially, I was offering free little makeovers of pantries to build up my portfolio, did some local moms in the area, and business started to pick up. I was getting clients. I was starting to get people that I didn't know. Again, I stress the fact that I do live in central New Jersey, so it is a very densely populated area, which was helpful. I did have some competition. I looked around to see what my competition was and kind of set my rates along those lines. And then once pandemic hit and the world shut down, I kind of figured that this would be over. The little dream was going to kind of go away. And 3 months later, when businesses opened up again in New Jersey, the day businesses opened up, I got 14 calls, and I have not taken a breath since. After that, within 9 months, I had to resign as a physical therapist. I was so busy that I was turning business down because I had to see patients. And I thought, you're either going to do this or you're not. You got to take that leap. It was scary, but I took that leap. At that time, it was just me and one other organizer. I had to bring on an assistant by that time. Once I resigned from my job in healthcare and I dove head on, that was at the 1 year mark. So in the last 2 years, I went from myself and an assistant to now myself plus 7.
Wow. And so when you say assistant, was she doing assistant things within the business side of stuff, or was she assisting you on the jobs?
So she was assisting me on the jobs. What happened was initially I was getting, like a pantry or a coat closet. And then, like most organizers, I underpriced myself and, worked 10 hours alone on a kitchen at a certain price and thought, oh my gosh, I just made nothing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I changed two things. One, I decided to look for a helper so I could be more efficient. And two, I changed to an hourly rate so as not to make that mistake again.
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever you first started with just you and her, you went ahead and went to an hourly rate. And then that way, no matter how long it took you, you were getting that pay instead of charging per space.
Correct. So I had two rates at that time. I had the single person, rate, and then I said, well, for two people, it's this additional. I didn't double it. I just increased it by a smaller increment to say it would be more efficient for this job and more savings in your pocket to have two of us do this job in, let's say, 5 hours versus me to do it in 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Did it build out again to the point where you and her could no longer take any more of the jobs that you then decided I need more help?
So what happened was the first person I took on was I needed a carpenter. I needed a handyman because a lot of the jobs we started doing, let's say we're doing a closet, it could use some extra shelving or move it around. A playroom could use some floating shelves. Putting furniture together, like the flat pack furniture from IKEA and Target. So I thought, let me look for a handyman. And I have to say that was challenging because to find a male who was available in the workforce and reliable at the same time was not an easy task. It took me a year. I went through 5 handymen/carpenters in that year's time. And now I have two, and they are both gems. They're wonderful. So having the handyman and that extra service available in conjunction with the pro organizing was kind of a game changer. It kind of brought me next level because now we were doing garages and I could say, well, he can hang cabinets here and he could put, a whole slat system up for you and put hooks over here. And he's also a carpenter, so he would start, building bike storage and building things. And then that brought more business in.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, how would you price that then? Because, like you said, for just the two organizers, it was one rate for you and then a little more if you added the second organizer. How did you go about charging for the handyman service where it was enough to pay the handyman to keep him on wanting to work for you, but also seeing that you had enough jobs and that the clients were willing to pay for that extra service?
So what I did was, of course, I spoke to the handyman first. I asked him what rate was he comfortable pocketing per hour, and his jobs he also charges hourly. He's under me, even though he is his own LLC. The agreement I have with him is when he does jobs with me, he gets his cut and I take my share, and we're very open about those numbers. I also tell him if you get jobs after this customer, for example, and they want you to do more things in their house, then you take it all. Then that's under your LLC and you're on your own. And that's just my way of helping him build, his business and his name in the area up. And it works really well because he's very loyal to me and he does my jobs first for sure simplicity because he knows that's only going to lead to more jobs for him.
Nice. Yeah, that's amazing. So that got you up to 4. And that was, so your first year it was just you, then you brought on an assistant. And then in the next year, it took you getting 2 carpenters. So that brought you up to 4 people, right?
Yes, that brought me up to 4. Around the time that I took the second carpenter, it was because we were getting so busy that I had to take a second carpenter. And around that time is when I hired my other lead organizer. So I really hired the second organizer and the second handyman the same week, I believe it was. And that was simply because we were getting busy. And my assistant, who I had originally taken on, was getting to the point now where I could send her on jobs. And then I said, let me bring on this new girl. Let me bring on Tara. That's her name. And I said, I'll train Tara with me. And my first girl, Melissa, who's now my lead, one of my lead organizers, can start go doing smaller jobs. Like she can go do a pantry. She can go do a closet here and there while I'm doing a bigger job with Tara and kind of getting some on the job training with her.
When it comes to having all of these people that work for you, like you said, for the carpenter, he's his own LLC. And then once it's his, it's his. But for your organizers, are they contracted out and then you just pay them their fee as if they were working, or how does that work with the other organizers?
So all of my organizers are 1099 through me. They're not LLC'd. They're not working for someone else. They work for me, but I can't offer them yet. That's yet. I can't offer them 40 hours a week of a full-time job. So for now, they're all 1099. Some make more than others. My 2 initial lead organizers, Tara and Melissa, are getting to the point now where they're probably working about 30 hours a week each. Not always with me. Sometimes they're in another location and I'm with the other team members. And the other 5 organizers are, usually 2 on a job together, 3 with me, or they're on a job with Melissa or Tara leading a job. I am able to increase their pay. So Melissa and Tara are at a certain rate right now. When they are with me leading a job, they're on their old rate. But if they lead a job, if they're off on their own and they're either working solo or with other organizers, I pay them double.
Nice, which definitely is super smart because that also makes sure that they are representing your company well.
Correct.
And so when you say a 1099, that just means like it's a business expense, essentially. Is that correct?
It's a business expense, but it is a type in New Jersey, at least. The law is that unless someone is a full-time, employee getting benefits as such, then as long as they are paid more than $600 in a year, which happens very quickly,
right?
You have to give them a 1099. So they are a business expense, but they are actually considered a payroll expense for me from an accounting standpoint.
Gotcha. And so I guess the reason I was wondering is because I'm like learning all the new stuff with the $600 and all those new things they did this year. And so what I was trying to figure out was, if I were to hire on an assistant or hire on anyone, whenever you go to pay them, that comes out of the business, actual money that is in the business. So that's what I meant by like it's a business expense, like the business is paying them.
Yes, absolutely. It comes right out. In fact, it comes right out of the revenue. Whatever is generated, I pay I pay all my people first, my team first, and then pay my other expenses and my bills. And then whatever's left is what, goes back into the business account.
Like back in the beginning, I'm sure you did every single phone call, consultation, the whole 9, because that's how we all start. But now that you have a team working for you, is it still you that does the phone calls and the consultation and meeting with the client to see what they need, selling them the packages or telling them the hourly rate? And then once they decide, the other people are there to support you for the actual jobs?
Correct. Exactly what you said. I'm still on the business end. I'm still a one man show, one woman show, I should say. And it's exhausting. I am waiting for the day that it won't be just me. But right now, yes, I do. Every inquiry comes to me. Every follow up is through me. Every consultation is through me. All the social media, all the advertising, all the marketing, all the billing, all the running of the business, the accounting, everything. That's all me still. So to be on a job site 4 to 5 days a week and doing all that, I think most everyone on this podcast can relate to the fact that we're not sleeping much.
Right. Yeah, if ever. Okay, so like you're doing all of that. And of course, we know as business owners that it seems like we get paid a lot for our jobs, but if you actually broke it down into an hourly rate, it's really not that much. But I will say that for you, like whatever you're doing in your marketing seems to be fantastic. And so I would love to ask you a few marketing questions, if you don't mind, of just kind of how you grew so fast.
For me, my number one place that I'm getting clients is Facebook. My kids joke that's like for old people, but that's what works here. It's, our business is regional. I'm not worried about Instagram followers because if someone's following me in another state, that doesn't help me. It's all Facebook. And it initially was word of mouth, word travels fast, but now it is Facebook. And I basically have a spreadsheet of what days I can post in which groups. So I'm in the local town groups. I'll post in the county group. I'll post in the moms groups on whatever day you're allowed. I post content every single day. And sometimes there is not content to post from what we actually did that day. I think we can all relate to that. Sometimes you might be doing a 5-day job, but I always have content sitting in my albums ready to post so that every day I'm posting something. And then I will create an ad every week that will circulate on every page in my area on Facebook. That will be basically a recap of the past week. So I will put something like, just some before and afters of Shore Simplicity. We had a really busy week. And some will show a before and after closet that my carpenter built. I'll never do two of the same. So I'll throw a playroom in there. I'll throw a garage in there. I'll throw a master closet in there. I'll throw like a spice cabinet in there, something big, something small, so that when everyone is looking at these ads, there is something for everyone. Someone is going to look at that one of those 10 pictures and they're going to see at least one of those is going to apply to them.
Absolutely. And when you say ad, are you actually paying for Facebook ads?
Never. I've never put a dime into a Facebook
ad. You go, girl. So you're putting and doing almost like a slideshow on your Facebook posts on your personal page or on your business page, or how does that work?
So nothing is on my personal page. I have a Facebook business page, which is free. I think I am now up to about 1,200 followers, which is pretty good. Not amazing, but it's keeping me busy. And sometimes I'll do a slideshow. Usually it's just before and after photos. I always add verbiage to it. So what I will do is I'll put it on my business page, and then you can't share to Facebook groups for some reason through a business page. It has to be a personal account. So I will click on my business page. I'll go to that post, and then I will share it to, whatever page is appropriate that day. It'll show up as my personal account sharing it. But honestly, it works because everyone knows I'm the business owner. Under my name, where you can add the text, I will always put something pertinent to the business. I always have to think twofold when I do that post. The post itself is on the page and has to kind of tell a story. But then in my text that I'm now posting and sharing to these different pages, I might say something like, back to school is here. Moms are busy. Get those kitchens ready and get those kids' closets, get their clothes turned over because, the cold weather is coming. And then I'll always put my phone number, call, text, my web page, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And the hashtags. The hashtags are important too.
Do you find that more people, when you do that, do they actually go to the website or do they call you?
Most people message me or text me because I put my cell phone down. So I say call or text. 85% is through Facebook Messenger. Now, on my webpage, I do have a link where people can fill out a quick short form, their name, the town they live in, their email, their cell phone, and what service they're interested in. And that's something we could talk about. Another reason why my business built so quickly is because of the services I added. When that happens, it automatically goes to my email and it will say you have a Google inquiry from your webpage. And I would say 15% is coming through my webpage.
One of the episodes I did for how to build your business, I specifically was like, even if you just have a 2 or 3 page website, it doesn't have to be a lot, but make sure you have that contact form on there. Like that is everything. So they could reach out to you and, make sure it says contact so they know that they are contacting you.
I have to say it is very frustrating and I would love to streamline it because we're wearing so many hats. It is very frustrating to have to keep track of Facebook Messenger, cell phone, and these Google contact forms. I'm getting inquiries from 3 different areas. And as you know, sometimes we have to chase these clients. Sometimes they'll ask 10 questions, you'll give them the rate, they seem happy, and then they go crickets on you. Mm-hmm. And the key is chasing them. And that's kind of what I've learned is it seems like 50% of the time when I chase them, I do end up getting the job. Whereas if I didn't chase them, I would lose that. So you really have to be very organized and on top of your messages and what's coming in because people do get busy and they do forget. Maybe as an organizer, you don't, but I have friends who have 300 unread text messages. It gives me literally high blood pressure, but they do.
Me and you both. Yeah. But that's just the organizer in us. But I recorded an episode with a lady who was talking all about 17 hats and how she has a 50% off code right now if you do the annual subscription. But you might want to look into that because everything she was telling me about that and about how it streamlines all of her paperwork, all of her customer inquiries. It shows each email you've sent them, each email they've sent you.
Oh, that would be great. Because it is very time consuming, but it is so important to keep the business going.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing, even not just with the organizing business, but, a lot of us have other things we're doing, right? Like podcasts or, like me with the coaching and different stuff. And so I'm doing the business stuff for 3 separate businesses. It's not just one. Yeah, it gets very overwhelming sometimes. And, you try to keep lists and you try to do the best you can, but you're human and, giving ourselves some grace sometimes. But I did have one more quick question before we kind of maybe hop off of here. When you went to hourly rate, do you feel like that helped your business?
I definitely think switching to an hourly rate for me was definitely the better way to go. I feel I think there's a trust level that you gain when you're charging hourly because like you said, they get sticker shock when you give them that final, oh, this is going to cost X dollars versus this is what it's going to be hourly. And I always say the sentence, I always overestimate because they will ask me how many hours. And I always say, if we're done quicker, you pay less. Simple sentence, and it goes a long way. And my team and I, we work fast. So what happened was, it's funny you asked that because very recently, I actually had to increase the hourly rate. Now we are all the same. I charge the same hourly rate per organizer across the board because we were working so fast that it seemed silly. We were almost too cheap. Because we were getting 2 of us getting a gigantic garage done in 4.5, 5 hours.
Yeah. And then you walk away feeling like, well, so that was awesome, but my pocketbook's not thanking me.
Exactly. I'm thinking, I can't believe this person just got their garage done for, $450 and they could park 2 cars in here. That seems crazy for all the work we just did.
Yeah. And so now the way that you're doing it is per person, per hour, this is the rate. And then that way, if I feel like I need to bring someone else in to help me, we're still getting technically the same amount of money as whether it took 10 hours with one person or 5 hours with two, you're still getting the same pay.
Yes. And switching all of my organizers to the same rate, all of us, including myself, has been a game changer for me on my end. It's made my running the business easier, and it's less confusing for the clients, because if you're saying, oh, I'll give you one for X dollars, but two of us is this and three of us is this, their head starts to spin.
Yes.
And then they're going, wait, but why are you having three? Why can't you just have two? Now it's simple. It's like, X amount of dollars per organizer per hour. I think we need three, but if you want it done in 2 days, then I'll bring two. If you want it done in 1 day, I'll bring four. So it doesn't cost them any more or less. And I would rather grab a full team of 4 and get the job done in a day. 20 man hours in 1 day gets a lot done.
Right. Yeah, very much so. Oh my goodness. I'm so thankful because I've had multiple people ask about running a team and I don't have the answers for them. And so that's why when you and I started talking, I was like, yes, 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 please come on the podcast and come talk to my listeners about, just running a team and what that looks like. And, even for people just starting out, kind of like you did that first year, it doesn't even have to be an assistant. It could be a quote unquote, almost like a partner in a way, same price per person per hour, but there's two of us that come in to do this to make it shorter on the time that it takes in the home. And I think that that's a brilliant idea, because then you also have somebody that is there to, make it more fun and support you and kind of bounce ideas off of. And, my husband used to do it with me before he had his motorcycle accident. And he kind of did the handyman side of things, but then he would also like run trash to the dump, or he would, be hanging shelves, or he would go buy products or whatever, while I was able to stay there and keep working. And it worked phenomenally until he had his accident. But he's over a year out now. And so I'm very soon about to be pulling him back in with me, because exactly like you said, almost every single time that you go to do an organizing job, they always have a honey-do list that they need a man, not a man, it could be a woman too, but you know what I mean, that they need somebody that is handy to help hang those shelves or put in those light bulbs or fix this or fix that. And, it's just an added service. Like, I think why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah. And, as organizers, it makes our job more efficient, because if we say, look, you don't need more furniture in here, my handyman can put up some floating shelves and you could gain so much space. We're all about vertical space, but unless you have someone to install it, you're not going to get it. It opens up our world too. It makes our jobs easier.
I will definitely make sure that we put all of the links in the show notes of your Facebook and anywhere you're on social media, your website, all of the things, so people can figure out how to follow you and give you some love and support on the internet.
Thank you so much, Samantha. I really appreciate your time today.
You have been listening to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to the show notes to find all of the links mentioned in this episode, and hit that subscribe and automatic download button so you don't miss a single thing. Thanks for listening.